Well, a very warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this press conference. It's been a great pleasure also today for me to announce the launch of the European Friends of Kurdistan. I was very honoured to be asked by the KRG mission here in Brussels to be the founder president of this intergroup. And, of course, I accepted that without hesitation, having been a long-standing friend of Kurdistan, not just in Iraq, but the wider Kurdish diaspora. Current events in Iraq, Syria and the wider Middle East have illustrated how important a role the KRG is playing as a democratic polity, as a stabilising force in the region. And I also hope that this new informal intergroup, which will be cross-party, and with me today I have two of the vice presidents, one Jim Carver from the EFDD, and from ALDE, Hans van Baalen. We also have with us today the chairman of the Iraq European Parliament delegation, my friend David Campbell-Bannerman. The brave efforts of the Peshmerga are vital to the Western-led United States-led coalition against ISIS. And only last week we saw how brave Peshmerga fighters have entered Kobani to help resist ISIS there in that besieged town. The political neutrality of this new intergroup will be vital to its success. And along with the two vice presidents I just introduced, we'll also be having Georgi Shoflin, who is a distinguished Hungarian from the EPP, and Mrs. Ana Gomez, who's also on the Foreign Affairs Committee from the Socialist and Democratic Group. So the Parliament is represented across nationality and across political groups, and I'm very grateful to my colleagues for accepting their nominations. So I have said enough now, and let me now introduce Mr. Barzani, who gave an excellent speech just now before the Foreign Affairs Committee in brilliant English, probably better than my English, who is head of the Kurdistan Regional Government National Security Council. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Please allow me to first and foremost congratulate you and thank you for announcing this body as European Friends of Kurdistan, which means a lot, and it's going to be a great help and support morally, politically, and we hope that it's going to contribute to gathering more support for Kurdistan from different parts of Europe. We thank also our representation here for helping creating this body and to contacting you, and thankfully, I must say that we thank you for accepting to become friends of the Kurds. Of course, you have already been our friends, but to have to be in such an official body in the European Parliament. We understand that friends of the Kurds are coming from different backgrounds, different countries, from different parties, which makes it even more important for the Kurds to know that they should no longer feel that they have no friends. We do have friends, and our friends are here to help us. And once again, I just wanted to thank you. And I did give a speech earlier today on all those messages that you have delivered to the European Parliament. We hope that you can help us achieve those objectives. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, the floor is now open to anybody who wishes to pose any questions, particularly from the media, and if you could please identify yourselves before asking your question of Mr. Barzani. Who would like to ask a question? Gentleman at the back.
Thank you. My name is Wasim Brahim from Safir newspaper. The question goes for the both of you, sirs. Mr. Barzani, you said that the Turkish support is not enough. And we appreciate your diplomacy, your diplomatic speech. But could you please say more? Could you say clearly, practically, how the Turkish government can support your fighting against ISIS? And for the third, the head of the Kurdish group, Friends of Kurdish Could you please say, from your point, you criticized Qatar and you criticized also some Gulf states. How the European Union, how this group, how all these activities could stop these foreign fighters from going there? Which kind of pressure is needed? Thank you.
Yeah, from my part of the question, I said that we are expecting more from our friends to come to our assistance and also to fight ISIS. You mentioned Turkey, but for that matter, there are many other countries that could do more to fight ISIS and to block their financial supports and revenues, and also to stop many of the foreign fighters to go and join ISIS. So our expectations from France is much more than what we have seen so far. And Turkey being a very important country in the region, we certainly believe that they can and should play a greater role.
I think that mistakes have been made in the efforts made to topple the Assad regime. There was a sort of rather simplistic view that the enemy of your enemy was your friend, and as a result of that, Gulf states, particularly Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar, until very recently, with Turkey turning a blind eye, did allow far too much in the way of money, weapons and fighters to cross their borders and to be fully financed. Some of that money may well have ended up, directly or indirectly, in the hands of ISIS. I think most of it was intended for Jabr al-Nusra, but some of it spilt over, and I think that has been a major problem. The British press in the last few weeks has been leading on this in exposing the role, particularly of Qatar. But the Emir has been in London only this last week and has made a firm undertaking to rein in this business and also to start to share intelligence. I think the Qataris have learnt that they cannot be still investing money in London, owning Harrods and the Shard, and at the same time financing terrorist organisations. That is a message which has now finally got through to them. The Saudis learnt that some time ago and reined in support for the real hardline Wahhabi Salafist jihadi fighters. So I think things are improving on that front, but it is a problem, and I think Turkey has been somewhat belated as well in allowing the Peshmerga to cross and help the besieged town of Kobani. And there has been a problem, I think, particularly in the eyes of President Erdogan, a feeling that somehow that terrorists were terrorists irrespective, and that somehow YPG, PKK were as much a terrorist as ISIS, which we don't accept in the West. ISIS poses an existential threat. It's carrying out what I would consider to be war crimes, crimes against humanity, i.e. the whole of the world, and therefore they are not remotely in the same league as PKK. And in fact, personally, I think it's now time to review the whole issue of PKK's status as an EU-prescribed terrorist organisation. That's speaking personally.
Helen Maguire, German press agency DPA. Question to Mr. Baarzani. Could you tell us a little bit more about some recent successes in recapturing some villages from ISIS? I think that you've also been cooperating together with the YPG in doing so. Thank you.
Well, we've had several successes, in fact, in different parts of Kurdistan, starting from retaking Mahmoud and Gwer in the southern part of Erbil, and then taking the strategic mount of Zertik and also the strategic dam of Mosul, and to the west of the dam of Mosul, all the areas and the district of Rabia and Zamar and the strategic water project. Altogether, I think in that area alone, more than 76 villages had been liberated from ISIS. I must say that PYD or YPG were not with us in that front. If you look at the city of Rabia, for instance, it's right located on the border. One side of it is inside Iraq, and the other side is called Tel Kuchar, and it's in the Syrian side. So when they came under attack, our Peshmergas have gone there to support and help the Kurds to fight ISIS in that area. And the recent deployment of the Peshmergas to Kobani to help YPG, is that?
That's the English acronym, I don't
know. To help them, we believe that we'll have some effect, but we certainly have shown our interest to send more troops if they are needed. Unfortunately, we've been told that no fighting force is needed so far. Maybe that's for the good reasons, and we hope that with the little force that have been deployed, they can defeat ISIS in that area as well.
Back to back.
Can I of Kurdish? Yes.
Do we have any Kurdish translation? I don't think we do, unfortunately. Could anybody translate for this gentleman in Kurdish? We don't have any official translation.
برس جنابی مسرور بازانی آرماچ عگینروی باس نیوز جبرلین هاتما بسیار من بری بینه که لوی سالونه دا پرس کنفرانس کاتالونیا هبو اوانش بحثا رفراندوم کاتالونیا کرد انها دوی سالونه دا ام جنابی واد بینی سرناوی گل کردستانه و پیشیش دیگر اکتی اروپی دا د سالون دا آغوی آیا و چی هیویک جی اکتی اروپی کر کو رفراندوم کو جناب برس سروک بارزانى داخواست کری و لسروی داخوازوی افشار و آلوزیا لحرم کلسان چی بون و چی هیویک جی هیا اگر کو بکاری و بما برس بده آیا هون و بردام بن لسر رفراندوم یانجو نه زور سپاس.
Well, perhaps you could just translate the question, and also could you identify who he is and which newspaper?
Newspaper is
Bosnian.
the leading newspaper, actually. That he's asking that we had a hearing from the Catalonian referendum that was talked about here in the European Parliament, and he's asking that now you're talking about the same thing. What do you expect from the European Union to support you? So.
Is that to you? Or
Yes,
to me?
it's to me.
Okay.
پیش هم وشتا رفراندوم شتاكي كبريارة كبداز قالي كردوية يعني اوان بريارة دان ام رفراندوم اكان يان نايكان وچونيش معاملة قال انجامي رفراندوم كدا كري وكي او بريارة كرفراندوم ايدا جيبه جيه كري اما شتاكي بيوستا با كردخويا و با برلماني كردستان و با سروكاتيو حكومتي كردستان و كبرياري كوتايش بداز خلقي كردستان و دبي سبارت به هاوکاری کردنی پارلمانی اروپی اما پیمان ویا هر ولاتک یعنی هر مؤسسه که بروای به دموکراسی تبی نتوانه دژی بریاری گلو زورینه خلقی ولاتک بواسطه اینجا چهارری آواده کن که آوان زیادتر بتوانن یارمتی اما بدن و رزل ایراده گلی کردستان بگیرن.
Could you give a summary in English as well for those of us?
I was just explaining that conducting referendum is a matter that must be decided by the Kurdish people themselves. They are the ones that are going to decide when and how are going to conduct these referendums and how to deal with the results of the referendum and when they would be implementing whatever the result is coming out of it. In terms of whether or not the European Parliament is going to be supportive, I do believe that Europe, believing in democracy, is not going to stand against the will and the decisions that a nation is going to make. Now, how they are going to support that will depend on how much of that is politically and internationally acceptable. But we do hope that the European Union is going to be supportive of any decisions that the Kurdish people are going to make to shape their future.
Gentleman there.
Shahram Mirhaj in Zagros TV from Erbil. My question is from your place. Are you, I mean EU or EP, doubtful of helping Peshmerga by arming or sending ammunition? Like your experience in previous times to some groups, are you doubtful? Or it seems that you are delayed in helping KRG or Peshmerga? And my second question, if please. Do you hope in Iraq remain united with this situation just now? Thanks.
Well, let me emphasize that we in the European Parliament do not have any powers to order the arming of anybody anywhere. We can write resolutions and make recommendations, and we have influence, and certainly the view of the Parliament in resolutions has been to support the arming of the KRG with whatever is required to defend legitimately their territory and their interests, and to prevent the progression of ISIS. And in fact, there is an international agreement now led by the United States, with my country involved, France, who are EU member states, some Arab states, basically prosecuting a war against the so-called Islamic State, ISIS, ISIL, call it what you like. As far as I'm concerned, these are terrorists and criminals who are murdering innocent people. And it is quite legitimate internationally to do everything required to do that. And in fact, you know, in my country, there was a vote in the House of Commons authorising the British government, for instance, to conduct operations basically in Iraq, not in Syria, but again, it's a grey area of international law. You know, I don't think necessarily in an emergency they would be coming back to the House of Commons for a second vote. That's a personal view. So this Parliament really has more of a kind of a moral authority and suggestions and resolutions in supporting the KRG against ISIS. We don't have any powers, but of course a lot of coordination is going on European-wide. I understand, for instance, at one stage, correct me if I'm wrong, that the British Air Force helped airlift German ammunition rather than our own ammunition, because it was the right type of ammunition and calibre for the weapons which are mainly ex-Soviet that the Peshmergas use. As far as the future of Iraq is concerned, the official position of the member states, and I think all member states, as far as I know, is that they would prefer Iraq to stay together as a state in international law, in a federation or a confederation. That is the objective, to try and maintain that status quo. Creating new states is always a major challenge to the international order. Recent examples in the Horn of Africa, for instance, Eritrea, and South Sudan, have been quite problematic. So I'm not remotely saying there's anything comparable between the Horn of Africa, but internationally there is reluctance to create new states. But everybody recognises two big principles: the right to self-determination and also the importance of respecting internationally recognised boundaries and territorial integrity. These are often competing international concepts in international law. So I don't think anybody's excluding the possibility of a new situation arising territorially in terms of new states emerging in the region. But it's not something we would wish for. We'd far rather maintain Iraq as one country under an agreement which is obviously acceptable to both Kurdistan, to Erbil and to Baghdad. But that remains to be seen. But in the meantime, I respect the right to carry out the referendum, to consult the people, and to see where we go from there. Questions? Gentleman here.
Yes. Ronnie Alassor from the Middle East Diplomatic. My question was about, we know that KRG is playing an important role also in the security level in the Middle East. Which kind of the cooperation and relation do you have with the European security and intelligence services? Thank you.
As part of this international body of combating and fighting terrorism, Kurdistan has found itself in a very important part of the world that is fighting terrorism face-to-face, and we have first-hand experience. This has made us to be partners and credible allies of many of the international community services, many of the European countries that we have bilateral relations with them, official bilateral relations with them in terms of exchanging information and dealing with terrorism and other related issues.
No more. I think David Campbell want to make a brief intervention on behalf of the Parliament's official delegation.
Well, I just wanted to welcome Mr. Bozani. I heard him speak earlier and asked a question. I'm the new chairman of the EU-Iraq delegation, and I very much welcome the new group that my good friend Charles Tannock, who's, I think, has unparalleled knowledge of foreign affairs. I very much welcome that. I do salute the courage you've shown, and particularly the Peshmerga fighters. You've really shown real backbone in fighting ISIL. And the three priorities I put for the delegation is, one, to destroy ISIL, as number one; two, to support the new Iraqi government and the Kurdistan regional government; and thirdly, not to get too close to Iran. As I think we've said often, that your enemy's enemy is not necessarily your friend. But that's what the delegation will do. I asked how we would help diplomatically and militarily, and I will do all I can in my position to assist you getting the right military equipment and the right diplomatic support to continue your struggle against the evil of ISIL. Thank you. Thank you.
I think those are very final concluding remarks. David, thank you for those wise words and your cooperation and friendship that you will show the new group, and particularly the Kurdistan regional government and the Kurdish people. And again, my congratulations to Mr. Barzani for an excellent speech to the European Parliament. I think you've raised the profile of Kurdistan and the KRG in the Parliament today, and thank you all of those who came today for the press conference. Thank you. That concludes the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.